I'm Lindsay Dreyer, founder of Happy Agent Co., where we empower women in real estate to build financial independence, lead with authenticity, and create joyful lives and businesses. Each week, I'll bring you bold conversations, actionable strategies, and the inspiration you need to build a business that supports your life, not the other way around. This is the podcast for women like you who want more than success. They want freedom. They want to make an impact. And more importantly, they want to do it all without sacrificing their happiness. Welcome to Happy Agent Co., where success is unapologetically yours. Hey there. Today is a little bit of a unique episode. I was a guest on Jennifer Meyer's podcast, Confessions of a Top Producing Real Estate Agent, and we had a very great conversation about social media, which evolved into a broader conversation about marketing. And Jen was kind enough to let me repost this as an episode for my Happy Agent Co. listeners. So here is the episode I recorded with Jen about social media and your marketing mix. I hope you enjoy.
I'm here today with Lindsay Dreyer of Happy Agent Co. And we're going to talk today about one of our favorite subjects that we pop off about, which is how to build a real estate business without social media.
Yes.
It's possible.
So possible. And also
pleasurable.
Probably, I was just going to say that. And also not exhausting.
Yeah. So, where should we start today, Liz?
Oh boy, where do we start? I think maybe we start with why the obsession with social media and why do you think agents are so into it?
You're going to have to answer that question because I have like the
Okay, fantastic.
Anti-thought, like the counter thought on that.
So I think that when social media came on the scene, it was the bright, shiny object. And I really think that we started to cling on to these success stories, and it kind of sold this false vision of hope for a lot of real estate agents, which was if you just show up on social media, you'll get free leads. And I think that our industry has been really suffering for the past at least 10 years, maybe a little bit longer, of if you're just on social media, you're going to get business. And I think that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah. I was always having a hard time with this whole real estate agent should build their business on social media, not because I didn't think it was possible, but because of the way that I think about social media and the way that most of my clients thought about social media. Like my thought was always like, for me, the business I wanted to build was very much I want to be a trusted advisor. I want people to see me as like, they see their CPA or their financial advisor or their lawyer or their accountant. Like I wanted to be in that circle of like, this is like a top professional that we trust and we like with our hugest investment, you know?
Right.
And to me, I kept thinking like my dentist is not on social media. My CPA is not on social media. My plumber is not on social media. Like nobody that I would go and hire in my life was on social media. And so to me, I never even wanted to build a business from social media because I didn't want to be seen as somebody on social media.
I get that. It's interesting because I think now that some attorneys are on social media, some CPAs are on social media, but I think those industries traditionally were built on referral, right? So it wasn't necessarily a marketing play per se. It was, I'm going to deliver this exceptional service and I'm going to boost my referral business. Like I'm going to become a referral-based service professional. So I think that that's like a really good point, which is a lot of people don't think of real estate as a traditional industry, but it really is like a traditional industry in terms of it's a service-based business.
Yeah, and here's what I love about real estate, and what I will always love about real estate is you get to make it what you want it to be for you, right? So like, I'm not saying that, like, I think it's great that other agents build their business on social media because my whole thing also is like, you know, how do you get clients, right? The best way to get clients is to go where your clients are, right?
Yes.
So if your clients are on social media, whether that be Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or wherever else, Snapchat, wherever the people are hanging out, right? You do need to show up there. And so I do think there's an argument for having a business and being on social media if your clients are there. But I
Mm-hmm.
also, think that there's an argument when people show up on social media and there's no thought put to like why I'm showing up there. Who am I talking to? What is it that I want them to do? Which really is the basis for every marketing decision that you make is who am I trying to have come to me? What do I want them to know? What action do I want them to take? And once we have that figured out, then the last question is, okay, where do I need to show up that they are so that they understand who I am, that I exist, and that I can help them and how I can help them?
I love that because you and I are both marketers, like at heart. We're like marketing. We have our marketing brain is always on. And I think so many times people don't understand that social media is just a channel in a broader marketing strategy. So there's a whole bunch of channels in real estate that you can get clients through. Direct mail, you can call people, you can do open houses, you can host workshops. There's it, and all of those can play into your broader marketing strategy. But I think maybe my biggest beef with social media and real estate is that it doesn't play into a broader strategy. It's just, let me just post a bunch of stuff, no strategy behind it, no target market behind it. There's no really thought behind it. And when you do that, I just feel like it is such an utter waste of time.
Yeah, I think there can be a strategy. I just think most people don't think of it as a strategy. Like they just think, I'm told to post on social media, therefore I will post on social media. And I think there's a lack of strategy. So for anybody who is doing it, who aren't getting results, there's always two reasons. It's either how you're doing it, to your point, it's a channel. So it's like, it's not that YouTube or postcards or it's not the thing that you're doing that necessarily will work or won't work. It's really two questions. It's how you're doing the thing
Mm-hmm.
and are the people that you want to work with there, right?
Exactly.
So social media may or may not be the right place for people. And really making that decision first and deciding like, is this the channel that I want to spend time and energy on? Because whatever channel you pick, regardless of what it is, it's going to take time and energy to get results.
Yes. And I think that social media is really fun for some people, and they do a really great job with it. But I know so many people that it's not fun for them. They aren't really that great at it. And the people that they want to work with aren't necessarily following them, or they don't have that audience built up already. So again, I'm not a total Luddite. I am actually on social media and I get clients from social media, but I don't put all of my eggs in that basket because I find that my time and energy is better spent in other avenues.
I think that there's one good story that I remember when you and I were together once. We have these like mini retreats and we go and do fun things and then work kind of. And there's like an agent you told me about that had like millions of views, right? So I think one thing is remember the point of being on social media if you are going to do it. And to me, the point of being anywhere is not to get views or likes or comments. To me, the point of being anywhere, if you're using something as marketing, is to get, for us as real estate agents, appointments.
Exactly. Conversations. Yes.
Yeah. At the initial consultation, whatever you want to call that, the sit down, that is the point. So it doesn't matter how many millions of views you have. It doesn't matter how many likes and hearts you get. What matters is, are you getting appointments set out of it? And I think to me, the next best thing you can get, to me, the way that I do business is email, because email has the highest return, still to this day, has the highest return on investment for both time and money than any other channel.
Yeah, and you control it, like to a certain extent. Like I know that, your email can sometimes end up in the updates folder or spam sometimes, but if you're really conscious about how you're sending them and making sure you're not doing spammy stuff. It's like my open rate on my email is like 65 to 70%. And so I personally would invest in that all day long. I would not probably invest that on like a Facebook or Instagram or a TikTok strategy. So I'm with you. Email is really powerful.
The other thing I've been finding more and more recently is even people that I want to, like, that I follow with the intention of keeping in touch with, or maybe, I follow them because I'm like, oh, I could really use their help later or whatever it is. I'm not seeing them in my feed anymore. Have
I
you noticed
know.
that? It's
Yes.
all ads and then like suggestions to
Also, I don't
follow.
know like what happened, but I think that everyone thinks I'm like an anti-vaxxer now, which is weird. And then I'm also getting
What?
like
How did that
I'm
happen?
getting thirst traps. Like I don't know what is going on, but I'm like the algorithm is getting me completely wrong. So, I mean, I think that that's just another point is that if you're putting all of your eggs in the social media basket, the algorithm has a mind of its own sometimes. So
That's so
you may not be
interesting.
showing up to your people because they may not just be engaging with your content. And if they're not engaging, then they're probably not popping up.
Yeah, I mean, that was always the hard part is like for me, I was always like, how do I post something that I make sure people actually see? And I just was like, I don't know how to, because it's like the time and how many times you have to do it. And then they might still not see it. Cause, if you're someone like me, I'm only on Instagram for like recipes and hair styles or something,
Right,
or the,
exactly.
right? It's like, teach me how to curl my hair and make a good pizza.
Yes, and
Otherwise,
I want my parenting tips
oh,
and
do you?
my
Yeah.
feminist propaganda. Like that's all I need. I'm good.
Yeah. But I mean, the point I think we're trying to make is like, look, if you want to do social media and you're good at it and it brings you joy, brings you happiness,
Exactly.
then go for it. Know why you're doing it, have a strategy, spend your time on it and get the results. But if you're somebody who's just so overwhelmed by the idea of doing social media as the way to get clients, just know that there are other options out there. And I think for those who are wondering whether or not they should do it, let's talk through how they make that decision, maybe. Um, like
I
one
think
is,
one is
yeah,
do you need quick money? Because I think it's a long game. And so I think like right now, at least what I'm seeing is that the market is shifting or has shifted depending on which market you're in. And a lot of the conversations I'm having with agents across the country is that they just need more business because their dropout rate of their clients is getting higher. So they're needing to generate more opportunities because their fallout rate is higher because people are dropping out because of affordability or maybe they're just scared or whatever. And so lead generation or getting more clients, I feel like is the number one thing I'm hearing from real estate agents right now is that they need more business or they want more business. So how do you do that quickly? I don't know that social media is the quick game. I think you said it earlier, which was you need to go where the people are. Like, where are the buyers? Where are the sellers hanging out? And when I first started in the business, like open houses were such a good source of business for me. I was really good at them.
I never could turn them over. I never got a client from it.
It's so funny you say that because, like, I think it was because of my new construction background.
Yeah.
Like, I basically held an open house every day for 4 years. So you become good at getting people to like you and buy houses from
Yeah.
you.
Well, you're also just very personable and likable in
Oh my
person.
gosh,
So like,
thanks.
yeah. Whereas like I'm an introvert and I'm like, we shouldn't speak. We shouldn't talk. Like enjoy your tour. Like they're like,
And have a good time.
yeah. But goes to prove that you can be successful regardless of your personality, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
So going back to your original question, which was how do you decide if you want to go all in on a social media strategy? I do think it's a strategy and it's one that you have to go in on long term. It's not like you post for a month and you're just inundated with clients. The people I know who have really nailed Instagram, TikTok, whatever, it is a constant tweak, analyze, refine, experiment, put things out there, and you just have to really love creating for the love of creation, I think. And those are the people that they don't care if it gets likes, they don't care if they go viral, but they really are just there because they love creating content. So if you're that type of person who loves creating visual content, I think that social media strategy could be really effective and really fun.
yeah, and I think the other way to make the decision about whether or not you want to go the social media route is again, asking yourself, is that where my clientele
Mm-hmm.
hang out? And for me, the answer was always not really. I mean, yeah, they scroll, but none of like, I think about even like all of my clients, none of my clients were big posters. They weren't really on there as who they were,
Right.
um, who they are as people. And so that just never was the place that they went for these kinds of big decisions. Um, and I will tell you, I mean, one of the things that I always say in my experience, not just personally, but the agents that I help, how do you get clients? You really need to change like 10 people's lives, like two handfuls of people's lives for the better in a way that really delights them, surprises them, astounds them, and shows them what's possible. If you can do that two handfuls of times, you really will have a referral, like you'll have a business that people come to you and you don't really have to do a ton, really.
Yes, you nailed it. It's really not. I think the mystery of like the referral based business is so interesting because people are like, why don't I get referrals? And it really comes down to one of two things. You either didn't wow them or delight them or deliver just an exceptional experience, or you didn't stay in touch with them. And those are really the two things. And I think you're totally right. If you can get that 10 people that you just wowed, you are off to the races. So I guess for like agents who are maybe on the beginning of their career, the first thing is just you have to know your stuff and you have to know the market. You have to be an expert at real estate. And so if you're not an expert at real estate or your market, you're just not going to be successful like in terms of building a long-term business. Um, So I'm curious because we're like harping on social media. And again, I think there are some people that do it really, really well. I think they do it exceptionally well and they get clients from it. But I think that is the small minority, not the majority. If somebody is like, I need clients right now, what would you recommend that they do?
The easiest and cheapest way is to start with people you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they might not be buying or selling, but they might know people that are buying and selling. And here's the thing. You cannot just say, I'm a real estate agent and I'm new and I can't wait to help you. Like that's not going to work. And so what you really have to think about is who are you talking to? What situation, like when it comes to real estate, are they in or are the people that they know are in? And what is it that you need to say to them to get them to take the action that either they want or that you want them to take? So, for example, when you were saying like, you have to be an expert. I can just remember when I first started, I felt like I was a total loser. Like I knew nothing. I never sold a house. No, really. I mean this truly. And I'm like, I knew nothing. I took a class with a man named Dan Kennedy and he changed my life. You could take him or leave him. No, I don't agree with him on all things, but I do agree with him on this one question that he asked, which was, if you don't have the business that you want, regardless of what business you are, you have to answer the question, why should somebody choose you above all other options, including doing nothing at all? And when I heard that question, I knew two things. Number one, I knew why I never had any clients up until that point.
Mm,
And number two is I knew that was the question I had to answer in order to get clients. And so for me, it took so long for me to figure that out. But eventually, because I kept saying, why would anybody use me? Because I never sold a
oh,
house before, right?
yeah.
And so it took about a year of me beating myself up, not having an answer. But then I came to the conclusion at the time that at least I had bought a house. So at least I had done that. And if I knew more than the people who'd never done it, because I'd personally done it. And so from there, I was able to say, okay, who do I want coming to me? I want first time home buyers. Why should they come to me? Because they think they can't afford a house. But I happen to know about first time home buyer programs that can help them make their first home more affordable.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that was the messaging that I took to my channels. Right. And it doesn't matter what channel you choose. but I showed up where my people were and talked to people about how they could afford their first home if that is something that they wanted. And so I would always say, like, if you or anyone you know is looking to blank, right, like buy their first home, even if you have student loan debt, or even if, right, because I had a lot of doctors and lawyers who have a lot of student loan debt, but they have
Right.
high, right? And so I would like talk about a doctor loan. And then I'd say, if you know any doctors who are looking to buy their first home but are stopped by all the student loan they have, there's some great doctor programs where you can overlook the student debt. So things like that, very specifically, and first time homebuyers is just an example. I then was able to translate that into sellers and why sellers should use me. But that is the conversations that matter, not where you're showing up. It's how you're showing up, what you're saying, and then you simply show up where they are.
I think that that's a really great point, and I totally agree with you. And I think that that's the number one mistake people make on social media is that they aren't having that, they can't answer that question. Like, why would somebody choose me? And who am I targeting? Because if you're on there talking about, I help this first time home buyer, here's the first time home buyer programs, first time home buyer this, first time home buyer that, and you are just known as the first time home buyer whisperer, you're the pro, then I really feel like you have a niche then. Like you are starting to establish yourself as, why would somebody pick you? It's because you specialize in this particular thing. So going back to the channels, like, yes, social media is a really valuable channel. And you said the easiest way to get clients is to start with people that know you. But I think that might be one of the biggest mistakes people make is they come out on social media to the people that know them in a way that makes it so people don't want to hire them.
Yeah. Yeah. And so how should people show up on social media or wherever they are to people that they know? Right? That's
It's
the question.
it's a really good question, and I think that it comes down to authority and authenticity. I think that you have to prove you're an authority on something. I know for me at this stage in my business, I have owned a brokerage. I own multiple investment properties. I have bought and sold property, oh my gosh, at least over 10 times. So in terms of my reputation with my sphere, people think of me as Mrs. Real Estate. Like that's who I am known as. Was it always like that? No, it was not always like that. So it evolved from I was a first time home buyer expert to now I'm kind of a like jack of all trades. Like you can lean on me for everything. So when you're showing up on social media, I like to show up in an authentic way. So I'm showing up as Lindsay, swear words and all. I'm showing up as the mom that I am. I'm a mom of 3 kids. I love reading tarot cards. So it's like I'm showing up with like those personal things about myself. But then there's also the authority piece, which is I'm a pretty badass real estate person. And I talk about how I have an Airbnb. I talk about my investment properties. I post listings for sale that I think are really cool or just I think are a great deal, no matter where they are. It's like letting people into my world personally and professionally. I feel like that's the magic of social media is that we can let people into our world and it doesn't always have to be, I just listed this, I just sold this, I just did this, I just did that, because it's not necessarily about you, it's about them. I think that's where a lot of agents make the mistake is they just think it's push, 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 like let me just pump out a bunch of content. But it is about talking about the strategy that we were talking about earlier, but then it's also having a healthy mix of showing that you're an authentic human, but you're also an authority in real estate.
And Lindsay, I think even though I know you and I both are like, you don't have to build a business on Instagram. I think you do you demonstrate what you just said so beautifully on your
Oh,
Instagram
thank
channel.
you.
Yeah, because I think it's hard for some people, myself included, to bring that authenticity and to bring that really like wholehearted who you are and all facets of who you are. But you do such a good job at tying that whole thing together. I think you're really talented on nailing that, even if it isn't the way you're building your business. If you want to be on social media, I think you just do you do it so well. And
Aw.
for those of people who maybe don't have that authority yet, I always anchor into the why. Like, why did you become a real estate agent? There has to be a reason, and it has to be more than just because I wanted to make money and have a lot of free time, because you could have done that in a lot of other
Oh, yeah, you could
industries.
have. Oh, boy.
um, and so really anchoring into that why. And so for me, that's how I got my strategy and my answers to a lot of the questions, is like what made me want to become a real estate agent in the first place. So if you don't have the authority, really get into your why. And for me, it was like, I believe to this day that real estate is one of the best ways to build wealth.
I
Right. But
agree.
I didn't lead with that in my marketing, because I realized from doing it and getting feedback and results, which you can't be afraid of, is people wanted that too, but they didn't think they could have it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I had to change it to like the affordability piece, because that was what was standing in their way. And so just then you can build the authority and then show up on Instagram like Lindsay.
Oh my gosh,
Teach
stop
us
it.
all. Teach us
Honestly,
all.
I don't even do that good of a job on
I think you do.
Instagram. Thank you. I appreciate that. I literally just show up on my Instagram because I like to. And I think that maybe that's the trick for me is
Yeah.
it really is a connection tool still for me. Like I don't use it to, I'm talking about my personal one, but I don't really use that to sell so much, but I still
Yeah.
do let people into my professional and my personal life, which it's nice. I get some really wonderful conversations with people. I love the interaction, the engagement I get with people. It's really a wonderful way to stay in touch with people I've met over the past 15 years.
So let's wrap it up. And what's the takeaways here? Like, you may or may not need to be on social media. The decision is yours,
I think that
right?
is a great point. You do not have to feel guilty if you aren't showing up in the way that you feel like you're supposed to. Just show up authentically you. And like, also, you can always sprinkle in a little bit of like what you're doing professionally, but you don't have to do what everyone else is doing. You can do what you want to do.
And in fact, truly, when you actually do what the opposite of what everybody else is doing, that is how you stand out. And that's like the goal. Like, don't do what everybody, right? Because if you're doing what
Yes,
everybody else is doing, then you're confusing your audience, because they're like, literally, why should I pick you and you and you when all of you are the same? So
right.
you actually want to stand out and do things differently.
All right, so that's, I think, the first takeaway. Second takeaway is if you're going to be on social media, you need to have a strategy behind it. And if you're really going to invest in it as one of your major channels, not just like a side channel, it's not your side piece, but your one of your major marketing channels, there needs to be a strong marketing strategy behind it. Like, who are you targeting? What's the messaging? How are we reaching them? How are we demonstrating our authority? Like, I mean, that it's like a whole other episode, I feel like. And then I think the last piece is be real and be social. I think people are tired of being sold to. And I think that we really want to get back to those authentic connections with people. So let people into your world, like be real, be personal. And like there's a real human behind the camera and or behind the image or behind the text. And so I think just being authentically you can be a really powerful thing on social. But I just think in your real estate business, being authentically you is so crucial.
And be nice.
Yes, be nice.
So if you're commenting, just remember, like, to your point, if there's a human, like, people are showing up as humans, be kind.
Yes, be kind is so true. But I think I want to close on social media is again just a tool, but it also can be a really good way to just have conversations with people. And one of my favorite things to tell people is if you're struggling to get more business, try to have 50 quality conversations every single week. That can be, I know you're like, oh no, how do I do that? But they can be on in the DMs.
Yeah.
They can be with the barista in the morning. It could be with your personal trainer. It could be with whoever you come in contact with.
Yeah.
But if
even other agents.
Even other
Really?
agents. Yeah. It can be with anybody. But having 50 quality conversations, I just don't think enough people are getting in touch with enough people these days. Whereas we used to live a very different life where we were out and about, and it was just less online, less work from home. And so I feel like having that intentionality of having 50 quality conversations can be a really good way if you need a reboot on your business.
Yeah, I love that. Lindsay, thank you for having this conversation.
Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
If people want to see your beautiful face, how should they find you?
Okay, well, first you can follow me, lindsay.dryer. That's on Instagram. You can also follow Happy Agent Co. on Instagram. And if you want to check out coaching classes or the podcast, you can go to happyagent.co. And I know we were talking about social media in this episode to the max, but I have my social free marketing blueprint, which is totally free and gives you tips on how to generate leads without social media. And I will give you the link that you can download that in the show notes.
Awesome. And you can always find me at agentgradschool.com.
You're the best.
You're the best. Love you. Thanks for being here.
Love you.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Happy Agent Co. I hope you're feeling inspired and ready to take action to build a business and a life you absolutely love. If you enjoyed today's episode, it would mean the world to me if you could share it with a fellow agent who might need to hear it. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and if you are feeling generous, leave a review. Until next time, stay happy.